All right, we look at this first problem. We see that we have one decimal place in this number, and this number has 3. We will be limited to one decimal place. And our reported answer, here's our calculator answer. One decimal place will result in 56.7. Division problem. So we look and we see we have 4 sig figs in the denominator, 4 sig figs in the numerator. We should have 4 in our result. So this is 21.21. Standard exponential notation. We note that we move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So our coefficient is 1.500 times 10 to the minus 4. We know we have a negative 4 because this number is less than 1. And note that we retained a consistent number of sig figs. 4 sig figs in this number, 4 sig figs in the coefficient of our answer. Looking to question 4, we want percent sugar in the solution. 16.517% is our calculator answer. So now we want to look at our sig figs. So the denominator sums to 111.4. We note we have 0 decimal places. Meaning we have to stop at the ones place, and that results in 3 sig figs. So 3 sig figs in the denominator. We have 4 sig figs in the numerator. Remember, this trailing 0 is going to be significant. So we have to report our answer with 3 sig figs. The first number we drop is less than 5. We report our answer with 3 sig figs. We round down, and we're certain to carry the right unit. Okay, we're solving this expression for n. So we want n by itself on one side of the equation, which means we need to divide both sides by r times t. That causes r and t to cancel on this side, and our result is n is equal to pv over rt. And we make sure that we report our answer in the appropriate space. Okay, the complex sig fig problem. First, we write down the calculator answer. The number here in green are the results of these calculations inside the parentheses. Now, each is an addition or subtraction problem, so we're going to focus on decimal places. Each of these numbers has 4 decimal places, so our 0.2 should be expressed to 4 decimal places, which is going to result in a number that has 4 sig figs. In the numerator, here's our result, calculator result. This problem has 3 decimal places. This has 4. So in the numerator, we are limited to 3 decimal places. And that's going to result in a number that has 3 sig figs. So 3 sig figs in the numerator, 4 sig figs in the denominator, so we're limited to 3 sig figs in our final answer. That's 25.0. Problem number 3. We first write out our calculator answer. Next, we're going to make sure each of these numbers that go into the result are multiplied by the same power of 10. Our answer has the exponential factor of minus 5, so we want each of these to be the minus 5. This is minus 7, so to get from minus 7 up to minus 5, we need to multiply this part of the number by 100, and therefore we need to divide this part of the number by 100. We do this because we cannot change the overall value of that number. We must make sure each of these numbers is the same power of 10. That way we can line up our decimal point and determine how many decimal places are equivalent. We see here that there are 2 decimal places that we can justify that will result in a number that has 3 sig figs. So now we go up to our calculator answer and round it to 3 sig figs. The first number to be dropped is less than 5, so we drop all the numbers after that. So our correct answer is 6.46 times 10 to the minus 5. Now when you round your answer, be careful that you don't forget the exponential part, because that often happens. Question number 4 is a type of percent problem where the mixture is pre-made. This ore contains 6.300% of the gold. 6.300 has a decimal equivalent of 0.06300. I divide the percent by 100 to have a decimal equivalent of the percent. That makes this math easier. So here's the setup. This fraction of gold is equal to the amount of gold over the entire amount of ore. The amount of gold is what's given to us. The amount of ore is what we're solving for. So we solve for x and get our calculator answer. Now we can go back and consider our significant figures. We look at all the numbers that go into the result. Here we have 4 sig figs and 3 sig figs in this number, so we're going to be limited to 3 sig figs and our final answer. 1, 2, 3. The first number to be dropped is above 5, so we add 1 to the preceding column, and our final answer is therefore 65.4 pounds. Okay, make sure you report your answer with the correct sig figs and with the appropriate units. Okay, finally we're going to solve the last equation for C. The first step is to subtract 32 from each side. So we have F minus 32 is equal to 9/5 times C. And we want C by itself, so we're going to multiply each side of the equation by 5/9. Okay, what this does is allows these 9s and 5s to cancel. And our final answer is going to be C is equal to 5/9 times F minus 32. Now the F minus 32 has to be inside of parentheses. And we report our final answer in the appropriate space.